Gunman shoot up West Indian parade in Brooklyn. 95% of schools reopen in Jamaica. Woman on the run for killing a man in Manchester, while another deadly crash took place in Manchester. This is Undiluted News. Mikey Bones reporting. Brooklyn's joyous West Indian Day parade erupted in bloodshed yesterday as 5 persons were shot by a man who opened fire into a crowd along the route, authorities said. The 57th annual celebration of Caribbean culture and heritage drew a crowd of nearly 1 million people decked out in green, red, and yellow hues to Crown Heights Monday afternoon. The gunman, in what was called an intentional act, fired at the crowd on the 300 block of Eastern Parkway as the colorful celebration of Caribbean life was underway at about 2:35 p.m., police said. One male victim was shot in the head while another man was shot in the torso and another was shot in the arm, and yet another was shot in the wrist. And this is a normal happening at this annual parade, and hardly a year passed without this kind of mayhem happening. This year's crowd was probably the largest I have seen, but it is very scary, as you know there's going to be shooting, but you never know where a gunman will strike, whether it's going to be close to you or far away. A woman was shot in the shoulder and torso, and it is unclear where the fifth victim was shot, sources said, but 2 of the victims were in critical condition, cops said. The shooting happened near an area where food was being sold. And after the shooting, the carnival continued until around 6 p.m., and the gunman is said to be still at large. At least 2 people were shot and a third person was slashed in the arm along the West Indian Day Parade route last year, and in 2015, Andrew Cuomo's aide, Kerry Gabe, was fatally shot in the head getting caught in a gang crossfire in Crown Heights. The next year, 2 others were shot dead. 22-year-old Tierra Poyu, a St. John's University student, died after being struck in the eye, and a 17-year-old Tyreek Burrell was shot in the chest. So it's a normal happening at this annual West Indian Day Parade. A Kampong Maroon chief, Richard Curry, took to social media to thank reggae artist Buju Banton for a $200,000 donation towards infrastructure development and the economic development of their community. Chief Curry disclosed in an Instagram post that Buju presented the check to him in Washington, D.C. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Andrew Holness said his administration will focus on reducing the cost of public transportation for students and their parents. He said the government also wants to improve the quality of public transportation, which has been a sore point for commuters for years. Prime Minister Holness, who was speaking at a back-to-school ceremony at Jamaica College yesterday morning, said the government is determined to increase the fleet of the JUTC as part of a strategy to reduce transportation costs for commuters. He added that there will be improved security on the new buses, which are each equipped with 13 cameras. Meanwhile, Education Minister Favour Williams said there were no reports of disruption to the reopening of schools on Monday. Speaking at Ocho Rios Primary School on Monday morning, Mrs. Williams said of the 1,009 public schools, 956 reported full resumption. Schools that were severely damaged during Hurricane Beryl are expected to reopen at a later date. Private contracts have been issued to speed up those repairs, Ms. Williams said. Ms. Williams has indicated that some schools will have to use temporary accommodation at churches and other facilities while the repairs are being carried out. The Education Minister said discussions remain ongoing relative to the recruitment of overseas teachers to fill the vacancies created by the resignation of local teachers from the public school system. And since Permanent Secretary in the Ministry, Dr. Kashan Troop, revealed that stakeholders from Ghana and the Philippines had expressed interest in sending their educators to Jamaica, some local educators have expressed concern about the proposal though. Williams said Cuban teachers are the only overseas teachers currently recruited by the ministry ahead of the 2024 to 2025 academic year. A total of 29 new Cuban teachers began their orientation last week to formally work in the local education sector. 17 of the teachers are to be assigned to teach Spanish at primary school across the island, while 11 are to be deployed to secondary schools and 1 at a tertiary level. A child is dead and his mother, a member of the Jamaica Constabulary Force, is in serious condition following a motor vehicle crash in Christiana, Manchester yesterday. And it's reported that Constable Corbina Crawford was transporting her son to school when another motorist overtook a line of traffic and slammed into their vehicle. The incident occurred in the community of Sedberg. The Jamaica Police Federation has sent out an urgent appeal for blood for the policewoman who is attached to the Christiana Police Station. She is admitted at the Percy Junior Hospital. The driver of the other vehicle fled the scene and the police is now asking him to turn himself in. and since the start of the year, 247 persons have died in road crashes. An 18-year-old woman accused of fatally stabbing a 50-year-old man in Top Coffee Grove near Porus in Manchester on Saturday night remains on the run even as threats have been made against her family in the now tense community. Police named the victim as Fitzroy Wilson, a farmer and resident of Top Coffee Grove. The police said about 8:32 p.m. Wilson was sitting outside a shop near his home when he was attacked and stabbed multiple times, allegedly by the woman. Police said the woman fled the scene and Wilson was pronounced dead at hospital. Police said the woman's family has since been threatened, and sources said the family has now fled their home in the area following that incident. Meanwhile, 91 persons have been murdered in the past 28 days. Onto sports, Sheffield Wednesday winger Jamal Lowe has been called up to replace the injured Leon Bailey in Jamaica's squad for the CONCACAF Nations League assignment against Cuba and Honduras this week. Lowe, 30 years old, who has scored 2 goals in 7 appearances for the Reggae Boys, joins Shamar Nicholson, Norman Campbell, Mikel Antonio, Demario Gray, and Kaheem Dixon in Jamaica's attack. Bailey had not represented Jamaica since November of 2023 after a self-imposed break which followed a suspension from former head coach Jaime Hallgrimsson. He also declined a call-up to the Copa America tournament in the United States this summer. The 27-year-old Aston Villa striker mended relationship with the GFF after meeting with new coach Steve McLaren and was expected to make his return to the team, but he picked up an injury early in the first half during the Villa's English Premier League match against Leicester City on Saturday. And Jamaica will face Cuba at 7 p.m. at the National Stadium on Friday before traveling to play Honduras next Tuesday. And if you missed the news on this radio station, please go to YouTube, type in Jamerican Undiluted News, listen, like, share, and subscribe to keep it going. That's news and sports on your favorite radio. My name is Mikey Bones. I gone.